This is a very special edition of Business Morning. Hello everyone and welcome. It's a public holiday here in Nigeria, Monday the 30th of May. I am Bosun Amafayu. We thank you very much for being part of the program at this time. So let's take a look at the Nigerian Stock Exchange, the future of the NSE, 50 years old last September. Now we're heading to a new administration of Oscar Oyema, who resumed office in April as the new CEO of the Stock Exchange. About a week ago, Oscar Oyema unveiled what he called his four-pillar tactical agenda. So what does this mean for the future of the country's bourse, the third largest on continental Africa? We spent time on the state of the market and the future of the NSE, the stock market that Oscar Oyema inherited from Emmanuel Ikhazoboh. But before we talk about the future, let's talk about where we're coming from. The past 9 months was been a very interesting period for the Nigerian Stock Exchange. The intervention of the Securities and Exchange Commission on the 5th of August last year has now been declared unlawful, illegal, reckless and hasty by Justice Mohammed Idris, Federal High Court in Lagos. So the tenure analysis of the man who was the bridge between Ndi Okereke on UK and Oscar Oyema, the tenure that lasted just about 9 months and still continuing in other capacity, this is what we are examining this morning. Now what we have with us is a tenure analysis, and we'll talk about some of the issues that you see there on your TV screen. But if we move on at what Emmanuel Ikhazoboh has been doing, or what he did with the last 9 months, part of what Oscar Oyema is inheriting Ikhazoboh's days at the Stock Exchange. The SEC says Emmanuel Ikhazoboh became the deputy president of the exchange. That was in April, and remains on the council of the exchange as a nominee of the Securities and Exchange Commission. We will examine the actions of the SEC within the purview of the Justice Mohammed Idris ruling of May the 20th. That was a Friday. The tutelage that Oscar Oyema is getting under Emmanuel Ikhazoboh until June this year is also on the focus today. Emmanuel Ikhazoboh is now the chairman of the CSCS, and we're asking question, what manner of forensic audit is he conducting in the CSCS, and what we have any board approval of the CSCS as a limited liability company for Emmanuel Ikhazoboh to be the chairman of the CSCS. According to sources, Emmanuel Ikhazoboh is still a signatory to the Stock Exchange and the CSCS account. We're getting some stories from the exchange and sources within the Stock Exchange that Ikhazoboh and his team collected a yearly bonus last year. He was in office, he was appointed on the 5th of August, so he worked for just 5 months in 2010, but he collected a yearly bonus. We'll look at that. And of course, the Trade Alert Funds, there were stories about the disobedience of a court order that says the status quo should be maintained until there's a resolution between the provider, between the CSCS and then the DonaiNet. What's happening there, part of the stories we'll see this morning. And of course, the 3 million naira Mercedes-Benz scam involving Emmanuel Ikhazoboh, that is part of the story that we'll talk about on the program today. We got two individuals who's joining us live in the studio to discuss these and other stories. And from the global place, we have one major story for you. A new stock exchange has been created and starts operating today, the Andean Stock Exchange. 3 countries in Latin America says they're setting up a single stock exchange, or they've set it up and is already up and running. Chile, Peru and Colombia formally merged their existing stock exchanges today. If things go on after years of planning, it will be the second largest stock market in Latin America after Brazil. Brazil has about $1.6 trillion market capitalization, and there are analysts saying that Brazil may be eyeing the Andean Stock Exchange for a takeover in the very near future. That will increase liquidity in the mineral-rich Andean region. Chile is the world's largest producer of copper. Peru and Colombia have mining companies. This will dominate the exchanges that is coming forward. If Mexico joins this new exchange, it will be a mega one in Latin American countries. So that's the story from around the world. One major story. There's a new stock exchange in the world, in case you are unaware. So we've got to talk to two individuals after the break about the tenure of Emmanuel Ikhazoboh. We'll look at the legal implications of the Justice Mohammed Idris ruling for the man who was the interim head of the Nigerian Stock Exchange for 9 months, and some of his actions while he was in office. Let's get at that after the break. It's Business Unusual. It's a special edition of Business Morning this Monday, the 30th of May. Let's get back to the program. About 8 minutes past the hour. This is a very special edition. This market holiday for Nigeria on the inauguration of the new government on Sunday. That's just yesterday. So let's get on with the guests who are live to us here in the studio to discuss Ikhazoboh's tenure over the last 9 months and what does it mean in the light of Justice Mohammed Idris' ruling of May 20th between Ntiokereke and the Stock Exchange. An attorney at law who was here last week with us here on the program, Ikhazoboh, thank you very much for coming. And we appreciate this your time on this holiday. And of course, the man who you've seen on the program also a number of times, an investor in the markets, Boniface Okeze. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, my
also
pleasure.
for coming through. Let's start with you, Barrister Ikhazoboh. If Justice Idris ruling, can we use that